Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kenny Lamons here with Medicare Millennials. I'm super excited about our video today. It's going to be a little bit more of a podcast style. So, this is going to be a conversation. I'll introduce my guests here shortly, but here are the main topics that I want to cover today. We're going to talk about one of the most pressing questions that any new agent or an aspiring agent has, which is how do you select an upline or the right upline or FMO? How do you find the right partner for your situation in the business? We're going to go deep into that. We are going to get an insider perspective on what from a former carrier rep, a sales director from a major carrier who's just going to get that also worked on the brokerage side. Okay. So this is going to be good knowledge. What have they seen that works and doesn't work in the Medicare agent space? And then finally, I want to touch on what everybody is asking right now, the future of Medicare. Is CMS on a rampage path where they want to close everything down for FMOs and agents? Like, what do we think the future might hold? Is this still a good business to get into? So today's going to be an awesome video. Bear with me, guys. I'll try to make sure we cover and make this just one of the funnest podcasts we've done in a long time. First, I want to introduce my guests. I'm going to let you start, Jake. Just introduce yourself. Maybe give us a high-level overview of who you are and what you do in this business.
So I'm a FMO agency based out of Dallas-Fort Worth. We have a national footprint. I'm the owner of the company's called ProShirt Solutions. We do about 11,000 Medicare Advantage apps a year. So we're a pretty good size agency, and we'll kind of go into what we do and how we help agents, et cetera. So
welcome, Jake. Super excited to have you on. JB?
Hey, Kitty. Burnett, like you mentioned, former sales director with United Healthcare. I spent 10 years with United Healthcare supporting agents and agencies across the DFW market. Before that, 5 years with Empower Brokerage, supporting agents and agencies across the nation, mostly in the southern part of the United States. Just hit my 21 years in the insurance market, so I am grandfathered in. No more CEs for me.
You've been in the business nearly as long as I've been on this planet, man.
I know. It's been a fun journey, but just most recently, I got laid off. So the latest casualty of these Medicare cuts across the industry that we're seeing. Been a true blessing for me. Over the last 8 weeks, I've been fast working on building an agency. Just hit the 60 agent mark for my agency. So been recruiting and been doing a really good job at it, and it's been a blast so far. So
I want to start right there, JB, because that's super interesting to me. So you have all of this experience on the broker side. You were obviously very successful on the carrier side, working for a giant company of United Healthcare. And then, boom, you get a bomb dropped on your head, which is, hey, we're making cuts, things are changing, and things seem to turn upside down. But all of that experience, you knew exactly where to go. You jumped right into the agent side, agency building side of the business. So what has that transition looked like for you? And what would you say where you're at right now? Are you saying I should have done this a long time ago? Or, what does that transition look like for you?
Yeah, so I think the timing's perfect. A lot of people, and that's exactly what they've said. They're like, JB, man, you should have done this a long time ago. And I say, no, I said the timing was perfect. Like, United Healthcare ended up paying me to leave. What I mean by that, they paid me a nice severance, and the timing just could have been perfect. I was in a great situation, and knowing what I've known from United Healthcare, from broker business before that, the number one thing to make an agency work and to bring agents on board is provide opportunities. Give them opportunities that allow them to be successful. And I have a ton of relationships in providers, in sales meetings, educational meetings, and how to support them. I'm able to go in and grab money, marketing dollars. So great relationships with United, but great relationships with all my carrier friends out there in the market. Humana, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. It just goes down the list. And so just in a very short period of time, in the last 8 weeks, I've been able to get $45,000 in marketing dollars with all of these folks.
That's insider knowledge.
It is. Yeah, it is. That's just not in just DFW market. I've been able to do that in other markets. So a lot of folks don't know that DFW has a nice little pot of marketing dollars, but so does Austin, so does San Antonio, so does Houston, so does Florida, so does Alabama, Oklahoma City, right? All of these markets have a little pot of money. And if you just focus on one area, you're not going to get access to all those dollars. And so really kind of just focusing on pulling agents in on those different areas has allowed me to kind of pull money in there, but also having those relationships. So, it's just been fun, just using my knowledge to the advantage.
So I think one of the kind of what you're speaking about right now is, I mean, there's so much gold in having a relationship with somebody like you that has both perspectives, knows how to go get those marketing dollars, has seen what works for new agents and what doesn't I mean, they can't lie to you. You're with the carrier. You know if they're doing business or not, right? So you kind of know how to sift through that. But here's a dilemma. Maybe Jake, you can speak to this, either one of you. As a new agent, we're promised the world. It's either by a local recruiter. Maybe you've watched my other people's YouTube videos. You've seen success stories on social media. You hear, hey, we'll pay for your leads, or you've got to be doing seminars, or you've got to be doing grassroots marketing, or we'll pay you this bonus per application or marketing dollars. But the reality is, a new agent has one concern, and that concern is getting in front of somebody who will let them enroll them in a Medicare plan, and then them getting paid on that. So what we're talking about is super important, but what do we tell the new agents? Like, what should they be looking for? What should they be asking about to just get them in the race to begin with?
Well, it's funny. Let me touch on that real quick. So with me, I would always find somebody to find as like I have downline agencies. I have 27 of them now, where they're like have 5, 6 agents, where it's somebody that's already got a lot of experience that can help them, train them. Don't ever go underneath somebody that's never wrote business, in my opinion. I personally wrote over 400 apps a year for about 7, 8 years straight, until I got so busy that I had to hire. I have a couple what's called LOAs that just handle my personal business. But what I do with a new agent is I ask questions to them. What's your niche market? You might want to be somebody that sits at Walmart's. You might want to be somebody that does doctors. Doctors is my specialty. I work with medical clinics all over, and we help their patients out. But it's not a one size fits all. But the thing is do you have other income? Are you a farmer's agent? Are you a property casualty agent that already has some income, so you're not just stressed out to make that first dollar? Kenny, you and I have spoke about, like, if I have a brand new agent and they're just saying, hey, I'm going full throttle in this. I want to be a full-time agent. I want to write 20 apps a month, 100 during the annual election period. I want to be successful. I want to be one of those top 10% agents. We're going to back into it, and we're going to figure out in the beginning, we might do some lead drops for you. But Kenny, you and I both know we don't want to rely on those lead drops forever. It's not the stickiest business. But I am going to tell these new agents is I'm going to require you to do 6 to 8 events a week if you want to hit these numbers. Now, you might tell me I'm a part-time dad, stay-at-home dad, and I just want to do 5 a month, or I'm half retired. Yeah, that's a different model. But if you want to do this full-time, be successful, we need 6 to 8 events a month or a week. That might be working at a food pantry. That might be going to a senior living facility, doing a bingo. That may be sitting at the doctor's office. And those are some of the things that I would say that you need to really think about right at the beginning to be successful in this, because it's not one of these get-rich-quick businesses.
I think my key takeaway from what you said there, though, that there's not a one-size-fits-all. There really isn't. Mm-hmm. And a lot of agents get sold on one thing, right? So they're told, like, we have the best lead source and this is it. Or let's say you, Jake, you know how to work with clinics and doctors' offices, okay? But if Billy, that just gets into the business, lives in Borger, Texas, 30 miles north of Amarillo, he's not going to have the same sheer number of, these are a lot more small mom and pop family practices, not going to have these big networks of doctors that maybe you have in the San Antonio area or in a more metropolitan. So your model of marketing, you would have to introduce them to something a little bit different than somebody lives. So my big takeaway here is I hate seeing people sold one thing. They enter the business they try that one thing, and let's say they're in Florida and direct mail response rates are 0.3%, not in Iowa where they're still 2%, and now they don't know what else to do. So
Right.
like JB, maybe you can speak to that. You have an agent. How do you find out like what's going to work for them? You know what I mean? Instead of pigeonholing them.
It goes back to the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so if you're a brand new agent, you've got to be in front of the folks that hold the key. So, you know, if you're down in San Antonio, you need to be at every single UHC event. You need to be at every single Devoted event, every single Humana, every single Aetna event, every single WellMed event, every single CenterWell event. You need to be at every single event. It doesn't matter if you're writing one app or 20 apps. If you're in front of those folks at every single event, they're seeing you at every single event. You're saying hi at every single event. You're shaking hands at every single event. If you're relatable and you're a nice person, you're gonna get something handed to you. And that's all you want. You just want an opportunity handed to you. Opportunities are gold. You don't necessarily need somebody to walk you in and give you somebody's hand and then introduce you. You just need to be in front of people. You need to be active. You need to be in these events that these events are being held. They're being held across the nation. There's hundreds of them being held today. You just don't know about them. You've got emails. You've got people that are informing you about them. You may not be making time to go see them.
They go to spam though.
Check your spam. I do it all the time. You know, sometimes you get in there, you see some stuff, you're like, wow, that's an interesting email, right? Somebody over in Ukraine, right? Soliciting, you know.
Here's the reality though, JB. Like I get those emails all the time, right? I didn't even know what they are. All I know, nobody ever told me that I needed to be. Literally, I'm going to start reading them now because, like you're saying, like it could be telling me, hey, we're going to have a marketing event in Granbury or Weatherford. Like, crap, maybe I should have been. So, like, they need to know somebody like you. They need to have an upline that is aware of the ways for them to get in front of people to connect them with those opportunities. You see what I'm saying? Like,
the more you're seen, the more you're present, the more they get to know you, the more likely they are going to use you in certain situations, right? That is what this business is built on. It doesn't matter how old we get in this business. It doesn't matter how young we are in this business. This business is built on relationships. It has always been about relationships. Who you know. It's never been about what you know. Be the smartest person in this business. If you don't know the right people, it doesn't matter. Get in front of the people, get active, make these marketing events, make these events. I just got a notification just a little while ago before we got on this video, Kenny, about a CenterWell event here in Fort Worth. I'm going. I already know the people. I just, you know, just met with a lady last week at the brokerage event. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to go. I'm still going to show her that her event that she's putting on, that she's taking time to do, was worth her time. I'm going to give her the time of day to do that because, you know, it's going to net something for me and my agents at some point. So that's my advice for you. Make sure you're active.
So let's take that. Your active perspective and approach. I 100% agree with it. New agents just need what we used to call at bats. Like you just need at bats, opportunities. Mm-hmm. So why grassroots over leads? Because they're different. Like those are two different things, you know, and either one of you that want to speak to that, but it sounds like y'all prefer networking, grassroots type marketing over leads, or maybe I'm wrong there, but does anybody want to speak to that?
It's a biblical practice of teaching a person how to fish they'll eat for a lifetime, right? Teaching them how to fish. The leads will dry up. I mean, if we look at United Healthcare and the way the lead program worked prior to COVID, we used a program called BConnect. And BConnect was a lead program that was pushed out to the field. We would push leads to the field. It worked great because we could push leads to closers. And those closers would go out and close those leads. Post-COVID, we used a system called Mirror, which UHC still use that system today. It's a pull system. So agents have to be in front of their computer and they have to pull the leads. The problem is the closers are out in the field closing applications. They have no time to sit in front of a computer and pull leads. The ones that are in front of a computer pulling leads are the ones that are not closing applications, the ones that don't need leads. And so after COVID, what happened to the consumer? They become very comfortable with closing applications over the phone. They'll call somebody, the person pitches it over the phone, they make the application over the phone, and they're good to go. So the field leads dried up. Not to mention everyone's getting access to Mirror. The wrong people are accessing the leads dwindle down. All of a sudden we have no leads. So if you are relying on a lead system, you are going to fail in this business quicker than anyone else. You have to get out there and go to work. I've always said, activity equals production. It always will.
What do you say about grassroots versus leads, Jake? Any perspective?
Well, you touch on something else. In the very beginning, I'm okay with, you live and die by the lead, right? I'm okay with an agent. They need something to chew on. They need at bats. So what I'll do is for a new agent, I'll do a couple lead drops for them just to get something for them to call on. But as you and I spoke about in the past, Kenny, it's like at the end of the day, that's not the sticky business. That's not, your name's all over. I went to go play pickleball and at the YMCA, I look at the wall, I see Kenny Lemon's name all over the wall. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, in a big banner like this, that speaks volume. That builds relationships. But for a new guy, if we're just getting in, we're going to do some lead drops just to get something to do. But then besides calling those leads, we're going to start the grassroots marketing process, get you those 6 to 8 other events above and beyond the leads. And then eventually we'll veer away from those leads and we'll have our business kind of sustained with the
I wish somebody would have told me that like 8 or 9 years ago, right? I mean, hindsight's 2020. So I'm gonna plug you guys here in a minute because I love that y'all have the dynamic approach to that. First, I want to give like an example of the difference between a lead strategy versus what I call a networking strategy. So here's a real life example. People that do follow my channel, they know this. Ethan, my business partner, I don't even remember the exact number, but he wrote like 650 apps in 1 year. We weren't brand new to the business, but we were brand new to Medicare Advantage. And I think I wrote like a little over 400 apps that year, all Medicare Advantage off of direct mail leads. We went and we called every single lead, set the appointments, and then in between we got showed up, we door knocked all the other leads, and we were just busy, just work, grind, putting mileage on our cars, tons of window time, lots of cat piss and cockroaches and pit bulls and you name it, right? Like we're out in the country, which I love. I'm not like knocking that. For me, it was great. For a lot of agents are like, no, that ain't for me. But that's how we did that. Okay. We beat the streets to sell that many policies. Mm-hmm. Well, I get a lot of agents that say, that sounds awesome. I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes. If you show me how to, have y'all seen, what's the movie where he says, you show me a check for $30,000, I quit my job right now and I work for you or whatever. Mm-hmm. Right. So like people hear 500 apps in a year. You tell me how to do that. I quit my job right now and I work for you. Here's the problem. The problem is, first of all, you have to be a good closer. Okay. So people buy these leads, they can't even get through the door or get them on the phone. That's a skill that takes time. So there's one problem. But more importantly, anyone that fills out your lead is filling out dozens of other leads over the course of a year. So they tend to be the client that goes for the next flashy thing. The next nice lady who calls them on the phone, says she wants to come over, they're going to say yes to. And so you put all of this money, you're spending thousands of dollars a month on these leads, hundreds of hours a month working them, and you're trying to do what's right by the client. You write 400 apps in a year, and then when renewal time comes around, you only have 197 of them on the books. Oh my gosh, 50% attrition. All of a sudden, that doesn't sound so great. You follow me?
Yep.
Let's converse that to some type of local networking. It may take you a full year to ramp it up, right? You'll find your niche. Go to 6 to 8 events a week. And out of those 6 to 8 different things you do, you'll find 2 or 3 where like, this works for me. I'm comfortable. I like it. A year will go by and you will not have probably written 400 apps. I'm just going to be some will, but most aren't the first year doing networking. They may have sold 150 apps. which is amazing. But I promise you, 130 of those are going to stay on the books, and that you're going to get 130 referrals in year 2, and you're going to know how to scale that from there. So, I mean, you don't give any feedback on that if you think I'm wrong, or
Well,
I don't.
let me touch on one more thing. I got folks that still do the lead drops like that, and it sounds great because that's what everybody does when they try to find an FMO. What kind of leads you got? We know that's the only leads out there, these digital mailers, etc. The issue is I oversee compliance for all my agents. The ones doing that do write a lot of business. The problem is they go write that lady in small town Texas. The daughter gets home from work, goes, "Mom, who the heck came to our house? What did they do?" Boom, complaints. As we know in our business in Medicare, it's called CMS. They oversee everything, very strict on making sure we're doing what's right and wrong. You as an agent may have done totally a perfect job for Mrs. Jones over there, but guess what? Her daughter doesn't know that. So it's a he said, she thing, he said, she said thing with compliance where you get enough infractions, you won't be in this business any longer. They'll cut your contracts. So you got to be very careful with that model.
And you can't even door knock direct mail anymore.
Correct.
You technically, I don't know if there was like permission to do it, but it wasn't vividly against the rules like it is now. So
correct. So when any of these FMOs out there say they got all these leads, me and JB have seen it all. I was in corporate America at one point. I was an agency manager at United Healthcare. My job was to manage any agency footprint in DFW. And I had to consult them and see what they did, look at how many agents they got, what they're doing. It's a lot of baloney when they offer leads. Look right through that. Talk to somebody watching this video. They'll hear the solid truth of how you got to make it in this business and what it takes to be successful. Only a handful of my 300 plus agents work leads to be successful. The rest of them are exactly what you do with your business, Kenny. Grassroots marketing, working the community. It takes longer, but it's stickier business. These clients become clients for life. They're not going to call the 1-800-JOE Namath commercial and switch because they're going to call Kenny Lamons when they have an issue, right? So you're exactly spot on. Don't listen to these FMOs that say leads. Call us. We'll tell you the real truth of how it works.
Okay.
JB, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think this is really the question that, you know, all the viewers need to ask themselves today is like, what's the latest thing that your FMO's done? Like the last thing that your FMO's done for you? Like ask yourself that. I mean, a lot of y'all, I'm sure the answer is, I don't remember.
Contracting a year ago.
Yeah, some of y'all may be even saying, well, I don't even know who my FMO is, right? And if that's the answer, I don't remember the last time they did something for me, or I don't even know who it is. I mean, that might be the time where you need to look in the mirror and say, it's time for me to make a change, right? And that's the question that, you know, you really got to soul search and find the answer, because there's people out there like ourselves here that are truly making a difference. You know, the experience that I've had over the last 15 years has really opened my eyes to, you know, a lot of different things. I've seen some great situations. I've seen some really, really bad situations, right? And it was a pretty easy decision for me when I left United, you know, seeing all of these FMOs and how they worked. I knew I was going to the brokerage, and really that's quite honestly an easy choice for me. You know, you look out there today and you look at these FMOs and, you know, you see the acquisitions from the Integrities in the Amerigroups, and you kind of like, you know what's going on with that? Why are they purchasing everybody? And I'll tell you what's going on. They're acquiring books of business, folks. They're acquiring the books of business, and they're acquiring your book of business if you're in their downline. Every application you write, they have access to. And as the market shifts, you know, you see this year where cuts are affecting Medicare Advantage. Cuts are affecting provider contracts. You know, if you're in the DFW area, the big contract dispute was SWHR. But we're seeing those across the nation. We're going to continue to see those contract disputes. This is not something that's just an anomaly. These are going to go on for many, many months and into the next year or two. Those shifts in the market allow Integrity to take that market, that book of business, and shift that into maybe a Medicare supplement. Maybe, you know, Part D takes and shifts that into another segment of the business. So you really have some soul searching to do. This is that year where you really got to figure things out. When we look at the plans that are going to be designed for 2025. That's really going to create a lot of shopping. You know, right before I left United, I had an ability to kind of look in benefits planning for 2025 with United, and there's going to be drastic cuts. The United's going to take some cuts. A lot of those cuts, they looked at where the consumer would look less likely, you know, such as diagnostic labs, maybe deductibles on tiers 3, 4, and 5. You know, maybe $500 less on dental, instead of eyewear being covered every year, every 2 years. Humana is going to take cuts. Everyone's going to take cuts this year. So it's going to create a lot of shopping. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of movement, because as the consumer gets those negative ANOCs, they're going to look around for other plans, but I just don't know if other plans are going to be as competitive as what they have now. But it's going to be a great year for the consumer to look, right? But this is year one of 3-year cuts, right? And so there's a lot of stuff going on. So again, ask yourself, what has your FMO done for you lately? And if you can't remember that answer, it's time for you to look around and figure out what's going on, because there's opportunities that are passing you by every minute of every day. And you've got to do something about it, because this industry is built to make people like you successful. And if you don't feel successful, then there's a serious problem with that.
So I want to stay there for a minute. And in fact, maybe this will be maybe we'll see how it goes on time. This can be the last part. So you were touching on, you know, everybody's familiar with integrity. So most of us don't go knock on Integrity's door and say, hello, sir, can I have contracts with you? Right? Like Integrity is a big, high level FMO, and they acquire the upline, right? And so, a ProSurance, I know you're not in Integrity, but they go buy that agency so they can acquire the downline. So if you guys, how can people get in touch with you? What exactly is y'all's agency called if somebody wanted to reach out and ask y'all questions? And who then, if you're not under Integrity, expound on who your ultimate upline is and why you align under them?
Well, we can drop our phone number, name, and phone number right here if you want us to.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
All right.
Phone number, website, whatever you like.
Write this down. Phone number is 817-371-2121. You don't want to call that number, then it's jbburnett at AWINT Insurance. I'm going to spell that out for you, because I know some of you are like, what did you just say? JBBURNETT at AWINTINSURANCE.com. AWINT Insurance. JB.
I'm going to put that in the description below.
Yes, please. Yeah, I even got to take a drink after that with water. My mouth is a little dry.
You need a little simpler.
So who are y'all aligned under? And Jake, go ahead and say, you know, how you want people to contact you. Who are y'all aligned under and why?
So I'm aligned. I'm what's called an SMO with like United Healthcare. I always say United Healthcare, one of the 800-pound gorillas in the Medicare space. And it's a contract made for somebody that's done over 5,000 new to United Healthcares a year. I align directly under what's called the Brokerage Inc. in Flower Mound, Texas. They're a national NMA. I think they're the third in the nation right now, production for United. I always use them as my staple. Then what happens is JB is underneath me with an FMO. So I personally don't take on individual agents anymore, but I work with my downline partners, my agencies, to help build. And we have great team leaders. Everybody that we handpick, that's a team leader that has an agency, they're someone that's selling themselves. So if you're not writing 20 a month under me, how am I going to expect you to show another agent how to do this, right? You got to practice what you preach. So the best way to reach me, and you can call me just with questions on, you know, the industry at any time. It's 214-517-7783. I love to talk, you know, about the industry, what's happening in the future. I see a lot of good stuff coming. Kenny, let me touch on something. We all hear about the FMOs, you know, the CMS scrutiny and this and that. Well, guess what? We hear about the shopping. We hear about the plans kind of getting, you know, going the wrong direction with benefits. But guess what? When people start shopping, that provides opportunity. I've been telling my folks, guys, don't look at this as a negative. This is an opportunity. You need to be ready for AEP next year. All your carriers, your 60 events a week. And if you're in front of these folks, people are shopping. There's going to be the biggest opportunity from this disruption we've ever seen for these newer, hungry agents to gain a big book of business really fast. So
you think people that otherwise were kind of set in stone on their United Healthcare plan for the first time in several years is going to say, if the right person asks me and they're there, I'm willing to look.
You're hitting the nail on the head.
I'll tell you from a United perspective, there has not been a negative ANOC that is about to go out like this in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't understand, the consumer doesn't understand what is about to happen. So when they get it and they're going to see the negative parts of their ANOC, they're going to be like, holy cow, like what is going on? And so there's going to be a lot of buzz. I've got to look at these other plans, right? And then they start looking at other plans. They're like, wait a minute, that's not much better than what I have. That's not much better than I have, right? There's going to be a lot of consumer awareness of I need to shop, right? The thing is I just don't know, like, are they going to find better dental over there? Are they going to find a better copay there? Yeah. The great thing is for new agents, though, there is going to be a lot of consumers out there making phone calls, walking into retail, walking into community meetings. And so it's going to be a great selling environment. Mm-hmm. Agents just got to close applications.
So I think I would love potentially to have a separate video where we just talk about like y'all said, there's some changes that are somewhat negative, but there's a lot of opportunity in these changes. So for example, one thing we do know is every street level agent is getting a raise, right? Like that's cool. What does that look like? I think that's a whole video though, right? That we could potentially do later. To end this, I would like to ask each of you, if you had to narrow down the most important thing to look for in your upline organization and the biggest red flags to look out for, what would those be? Very practical, just most important thing that you want from them and the most important thing that you would say, hey, new agent, watch out for this.
I personally would never go direct to an NMA. I would find a lower level agency to find them, find somebody that answers their phone, find somebody that you got a personality that you fit with. I don't recruit agents. I go find agents and I sit down, I interview them. Because sometimes they think they're interviewing me and other agencies. I go, I'm interviewing you. My time is very valuable. So I need to know for the next 3 to 5 years, building your business, we get along. We have stuff in common. We got the same mindset, the same,
Do you actually know your agents?
I know every single one of them.
Yeah, that's your whole point, right?
You got to answer your phone. Find someone that answers their phone all day, all hours of the day. That is something I never miss a phone call with my agents. That's so important. And my agents can even text me 911. If they're sitting in an appointment, they're stuck, they text me, I'll walk out of a business meeting with a doctor's office saying, hey, what do you got? Because there's nothing worse than being stuck in an appointment. You don't have an answer. You can't move forward, right? So that level, you want to find that, interview this person, and they're going to interview you. Make sure you're a good fit, because you're going to spend the next 3 to 5 years of your life, if not more. One of my top agencies, he was 74 years old. They just sold after about 10 years of working with me. We had a strategy session once a week. We did it before Teams was available. We did a call once a week. Sometimes we're just talking about their dog. Sometimes we're talking about their new house. But a lot of times we're talking about business. How many meetings you got this week? How many appointments you got this week? Find somebody that's actually working out there that can help you build their business, that has done it themselves. If they haven't done it themselves, they can't help you do it. So that's probably the most important piece I could have for you.
I love that, Jake. I couldn't agree more. That's really good advice. JB, anything you got?
Yeah, let me add a little bit to that, because I think you're on the right path, Jake, but I just want to add a couple of things there. So what Jake is referring to, like, there's a lot of agents that say, you know what, I want to go direct to my upline. Like, I want to go direct to the brokerage. I don't want to have people subcontracts between me. They're getting a piece of my commission, and that is a completely inaccurate comment, and it's actually not very smart, and I'll tell you why. Because there is no haircuts on your commission. Like, you're getting a street level commission regardless of whoever's contracted above you. So in my downline, I have a general agent, which has the first level management contract. So they get an override off of their direct agent. That agent doesn't take a haircut. And then above that, we have a managing general agent, and then we have an FMO, and then we have an SMO, and then we have the NMA, which is the brokerage. In my opinion, you want to have as many sub levels as you possibly can, because you have that many more levels of support. Like if you're direct to the brokerage, like you have one person, like you don't have Jake, you don't have me, you don't have Kenny, like you don't have other levels of people to help you. And it's always about, again, relationships. The more relationships you have in this industry, the more likely you are to succeed. And so that's the one thing I would tell you, like, it's very important that you contract with the correct top level contract. So the brokerage has very, very good incentives, reimbursements, brokerage bucks. Every 8 apps, you get $450 in marketing dollars. You get free CMR, you get a Simply Enroll. You get a handful, all kinds of stuff that is fantastic for an agent's success. But then you go down and you get Jake, that 911 steps out of visibility, answer your questions. Like we were on the phone last night with an agent, Jake and I was at 8:30 at night, right? Answering agents' questions, right? You're not going to get somebody at the brokerage answering at 8:30 at night. But you're going to get Jake and I answer at 8:30 at night, right? I'm on the phone, pounding the phone, getting provider relationships, getting dollars, right? That's my job to help support my downline, right? So that's a very important thing. The other thing, part of that, Kenny, was like, what do you stay away from? In my opinion, stay away from a solicitor or LOA contract. And I'll tell you why. They sound great. Hey, we're going to pay you $30,000 a year. And every app you sell, we're going to pay you $50, $75. But guess what? You ever leave? You don't get a dollar. You don't get a dime. Everything you sold stays with your person you're contracted with. You never get anything. That's just my opinion. Now, it may be a great opportunity for the right person. Maybe it's somebody that's like, hey, I don't care. If I leave, they keep the money. I'm okay with that. Right now, I need the $30,000 and I need, $75 per app. But I just want you to know, when you see LOA or solicitor, know what you're getting into. Understand the terminology. Don't let somebody be crooked, tricky into it, and like, I'm getting this insurance job. It's getting me $30,000 a year. Plus, I'm getting $75 an app. And then next year, I'm going to get another 75 and another 100. No, you're not getting any renewals. Understand the business model. So make sure you do that. And then one more thing, I would challenge all the viewers today. Drop comments into this video. Questions you might want to hear from us next time. So if you have us back on, Kenny, get a list of questions. Let's answer those questions for these viewers next time. I'm working at United. I have so much knowledge I would love to share with y'all. So if you've got questions for me that I can answer for you, I would love to answer for you. I got a ton of inside knowledge. One of my good friends works for CMS, and I say good friends lightly. We're casual friends, but if you get some alcohol into him, he will pour out all the details. And I have a whole lot of information when it comes to credible ACOs and what CMS is doing behind the scenes. That's a whole nother segment. So anyways, be happy to share that with you, Kenny.
That's so good. So to kind of wrap this up, Jake, what I will say, since I've met you, you're very personable, and I think obviously that's reflected in the success of your business. I'm a big believer. I've been with different uplines over the course of my career, and there's nothing is more valuable, nothing, not a lead, not a dollar amount, nothing than a trustworthy relationship. And so, if you want to reach out to Jake, I'm going to put their contact information in the description. JB, I wanted to point out about you. You have such a unique blend of experience in the past. I want you on my team. I want to know I can call you and be like, JB, how does this work? You're going to know, right? And so I think that's super valuable. These are the kind of things I encourage agents that watch my videos to find an upline, find partners that you have a relationship with and that brings something to the table other than some pie in the sky thing, right? It's got to be tangible, relationship based. So I appreciate both of you guys. I'll make sure your contact information is in below. If you stuck around to the end of this video, you also know if there's something you need, go to my website, MedicareMillennials.com, and reach out to me there. Guys, thank you so much for being on. Hopefully we'll do this again soon. Touch on some other topics.
Thanks, Kenny, for having us on, buddy. Appreciate you.